welcome to Creatives on the Couch, presented by ASJ Publishing. I'm your host, Christine Madaffrey, and today I'm talking to Bec Taylor, author of Cut the Chemicals Cookbook. Welcome to the couch, Bec.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Yeah, it's exciting.
Fantastic. Bec, you've come to writing not as a professional writer. You're a teacher.
That's right.
But you've come from a more personal journey to writing. Tell us a bit about how Cut the Chemicals Cookbook came to be.
Yes, it's quite a long process. We had a personal experience with food in our family, and we had to change the way that we eat in order to change some aspects of our family life. And because of that, I had to do a lot of research, and I found that a lot of other people were really interested in what we were doing as well and the results we were getting in our household. So I found the easier way to get the information across to other people was to actually put it down in writing for them. So I started doing that, and then the idea came about self-publishing an actual book for people that they could just download off the internet, and then they could put it on their phone, and it would be just quick and easy information for them.
Okay, so it was really first of all about children and their behaviour, because so many children these days have problem behaviours, symptoms like ADHD and difficulties at school with learning or just settling.
Yes.
Tell us about your personal experience and what prompted you to investigate why your children were behaving the way they are.
Yeah, well, it was really with my second child, my daughter. She was having lots of issues when she would have certain types of food, which we didn't know at the time the food was the problem.
Causing it.
Yeah, but she was this, she was a beautiful girl. She still is a beautiful girl. But she would have these really highs and lows in her behaviour. For me, the real issue was that one day she actually said to me, and this is a 5-year-old saying, that she actually wanted to die. And to hear a child actually say that, and for us to be always constantly just at her all the time, feeling like the only conversation we were having was to correct some sort of behaviour, it just was not a happy
It's just so
household.
negative,
Yeah.
and such a concern to have your
Yes,
child
that's
say
right.
that. Like
That's right.
her unhappiness. That's
Yes.
basically what.
Yes.
And did you go straight to investigating the food, or did you try other?
She'd had issues with anemia when she was little, so we thought, well, perhaps all the tiredness is coming from a lack of iron. So we went to our GP, of course, and done all the things that you would do. All of that was fine. So I was really hesitant to go down the path of seeking expert help with behaviour.
Yes, a therapist or something, because
most parents don't want to acknowledge that there might be something wrong with their child in that regard. So you want to try and eliminate as many other factors as possible. And I remembered when we were at playgroup, when Emily was a lot younger, that there was a mother who had a child who just was all over the place. He was such a busy, what you call a busy boy. Yeah. And she was the mum who could never sit still. So she wasn't having coffee with us. She was,
chasing him,
stopping him from destroying toys, stopping him from hitting other children. And she actually had read up about some issues, about this issue, and she made changes in his diet and limited his screen time. And she took him out of playgroup for a while she did this. Well, when he came back, this little boy was completely different. He was so engaging, he was talking, he would look at you when you spoke to him. He actually he had attention, he could sit and play with something for a period of time.
So that it's like a miracle.
It was like, So I thought back to that, and I wondered, what she had done. And I looked up the website that she had looked at, and it's called fedup.com. Fedup.com. Yeah. And this wonderful lady called Sue Dengate. And I was just reading all of the personal stories on there, and it was like someone had a camera in our house. That everything they were saying was what was happening in our home.
And so you could really relate to it.
Absolutely.
And also there would have been some relief with that, because you thought there's something physical, tangible I can do here.
Yes. So I told my husband all about it. He was all for it. So we started doing everything that she had said, and slowly started to make changes, and just instantly we could see the difference. And we haven't really looked back since. So it's been fantastic.
So that's amazing. So what were the first few changes you made? So for people who want to try this out.
Okay. So bread. Everyone has a sandwich. Everyone
Every
has
day.
toast. Everyone might have some buttered bread with their casserole, or it's something that you are consuming every single day. And we started buying from the bakery. Nothing exciting there, but they don't have the preservatives in them that some other stores did. We cut out other bread products, so we didn't eat crumpets, we didn't eat muffins, we didn't eat raisin toast, much to my son's dismay.
Oh, so a lot of flour-based products that were store packaged, but you found that at the bakery they didn't use the preservatives because they expected you to use them fresh.
Yeah, that's right. Their breads actually mould. Within a couple of days, you actually start to get mould, and your bread starts to go stale. So
as it should.
As it should. That's right. And these companies, these bakeries, aren't hard to find. They're in every.
And you can always ask them, what's in this? Are there any additives?
In fact, I done an interview with one of our local baker. And she showed me they have a great big ingredients book that they use, and she can modify it to however anybody wants. So,
really?
Yeah, which is fantastic. Yeah,
that's so. A lot of people wouldn't even think to ask about that.
Yeah, wouldn't know that because they are actual real bakers. And all I did was, when we ran out of it, I just went and bought the right one. Same with our margarine and with our milk. So they were the first three things that we changed because they were things we used every day.
So just say with those few changes, and probably your kids had bread with every meal, or some sort of flour-based product with every meal. Yeah. What sort of a change over, say, 3 weeks did you see in Amelie?
Well, I would say even just in 3 days, we saw a complete difference. Yeah, the meltdowns was the first thing to go. Yeah, the tears over just something that was completely not worth having a tanty over.
In a matter of days.
Yeah, and we're talking about a 5-year-old who was acting what you would see in a 2-year-old. So it was
a dramatic problem.
Yeah, so that was completely turned around, yeah.
So we're going to take a break now, and we'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Creatives on the Couch. I'm speaking with Bec Taylor about her Cut the Chemicals cookbook. So let's start with what people have at every meal, the bread.
Yes.
What's in bread and the related products?
Okay. So what you want to be looking for is a number called 282. So as soon as you see a product that's got 282 in it, put it back. It's generally quite bad for asthmatics. It'll bring on some breathing difficulties.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's will irritate your skin, but mostly it creates a headache type problem for people, and especially in young children. Another thing that nursing mothers should be aware of as well is this chemical also passes through the breast milk. So if you've got a baby that's a little bit that's unsettled, that it's crying a lot, it could be that your diet as a parent is not great. So if you're having 282 raisin toast for breakfast, well, that's going to be going through to your breast milk. You have to understand that when products are produced, the preservatives and additives that they put in their products have been tested for adult consumption. So they may say that they're at safe levels, but they're at safe levels for an adult. A child obviously is not the same size as an adult, and is not going to metabolize or break down these additives and preservatives the same way an adult body is going to. So quite often these chemicals are going to accumulate in a child's system
and affect the child's young liver is not going to be able to process them, and they're going to build up in the child's developing brain.
And especially if you're having it 2 or 3 times a day.
Where did you look next? Was it next on the list the brightly coloured lollies, cordials, and icy poles?
Yep. So the next things we said, well, because I had started looking into these few things, we started then to look at all the other packaged products in our pantry. And I was a bit sort of, this is just for my daughter. So I just separated the foods that had preservatives or additives or colourings in them and put them on a special shelf and said, okay, the rest of the family can have that, but Emily, here's your versions. And then as I was learning more and more, I lost my appetite for the things on the top shelf, and decided, no, they've all got to go. So they all just went into the bin. So we changed, you know, the sweeteners that we used in our home. We've changed the way that we colour our foods, because we still like to bake like everybody else. We still like to do cakes and biscuits and stuff like that. So we changed the colourings that we use. We changed the flavourings that we use, the way that we flavour the things that we make, or the products that we buy and the flavourings that they have. So for instance, if you were going to buy ice cream, for instance, that was vanilla flavoured, so you think that that was the most basic type food that you think?
And I would be hoping they'd use real vanilla.
Not necessarily. So they'll use something that some sort of chemical composition.
Because it's cheaper. So just say the chemical form of vanilla, or one of the most common chemical flavourings. What sort of symptoms or changes can they cause in a child?
So again, you'll probably see things like hyperactivity.
And the interesting thing you point out in the book, and that most people assume, is, oh, it's the sugar.
Yes, and that's exactly it. So a lot of people blame sugar, and there are reasons why cutting sugar back for health reasons is a valid point. But when it comes to children and their behaviour, it isn't the sugar that causes the behaviour, it's the other additives that are in the sugary product.
Well, there in your book, there are lists of the safe brands.
Right, yeah.
So there are options with custards.
There can be, yeah. The same with yogurt. Yogurt is you think you're putting something in your child's lunchbox that is healthy. Yeah, because we've all been told that. But there are a lot of sugar. It is a lot of sugar in yogurt. But it's the flavourings. It's the things that they use to flavour the yogurts, to make it strawberry, to make it blueberry, to brighten the yogurt.
So there's the colouring, there's the flavouring, and then of course there's the preservatives to make sure that it lasts.
That's right, yeah.
And they're all chemicals.
I haven't really found, there was one yogurt that I was buying that was a flavoured yogurt, but they have since, the strawberry version, gone and put a baddie into it. So now I can't buy any of it. Yeah.
Right.
So the only thing that we really with yogurt is pretty much just to make your own and add your own flavourings.
That is the safest way. That's really
or, your Greek or natural yogurts. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so in your book, which I found wonderful, are lists of the safe products.
That's right.
And there's an amazing range.
There is, and hopefully once companies understand what families want, the list will grow. But essentially, I have 4 children, and I'm very busy, and I don't have time necessarily to bake and make everything. And I understand that there are families that are a lot more busy than me. So I'm at home. I'm lucky to be home with my children, but there are mums who are working. There are dads who are working long hours.
And they don't need more complicated lives.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we all still have the same ceremonies that happen in life. There are birthdays, there's Christmas, there's picnics.
There are times you need treats.
That's right. And convenience.
Yeah, convenience. But the thing is, with your lists, even if you don't have the app to check things on an app, with those lists, I mean, there is a huge range, and it makes it so easy.
And that was one of the things too. I didn't want my daughter to feel like she was on a special diet, that she was missing out, that she was going to be left out of things. So, for instance, at school, they'll give out lollipops if it's somebody's birthday or something. So I give the teacher an alternative treat. Or if Emily comes home with something, I'll swap it with something that she is able to have. We're pretty good now. We know what causes what in our household, so we pretty much do the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the time we're eating really good, and occasionally there might be times where we can't. But essentially, I wanted it to be that my children had a very much normal family upbringing with food, and a normal relationship with food, where they're not going to get a hang up and they're not going to get all embarrassed about their food or start worrying about it.
Yes.
So that was another thing that I really wanted to do with the book.
Yes, is to make it easy and simple, and certainly not to have the children feeling deprived or unhappy.
And budget friendly.
And it's not necessary. And budget friendly. On that note, we'll take a break for these messages. Welcome back to Creatives on the Couch. I'm speaking to Bec Taylor about the fabulous Cut the Chemicals cookbook. Okay, so there's whole aisles or half aisles dedicated to health foods.
Yes.
And in many cases, you would be better off having a pure bar of chocolate without preservatives added.
Yes, that's right. So even just because you've gone into the health food section and you've picked up this cereal, for instance, that might say that it's organic and it's, you know, made by a respected health food company, quite often if it's got sultanas in it, it's got a sulfur added into it as well. So you can't just rely on the fact that of what the product says. You always must read labels. Always read labels.
And are the labels always honest?
Yes, in Australia they definitely have to have and have what they say in them. However, they can just say flavourings and don't have to break down what that flavouring is.
Which is, tricky. And also, as you were saying, it's fascinating that when you look up some of the numbers that these additives and preservatives have, in the actual further detail on those products, they actually say not recommended for children.
Yes, that's
and these will be preservatives, colourings that are actually added to children's lollies.
That's
and
right. So a lot of the time the products are being marketed directly to children. Cordials, soft drink.
Hundreds and thousands.
Yes, that's right. But slowly, the way that food is being packaged is actually changing the way some of the ingredients that are being put into food. So I didn't bring in an example today, but a lot of companies are heading towards the pouch system of preserving their food. So quite often you'll find that they actually don't have any extra additives or preservatives put into them. So say it's like a pureed apple, for instance,
right,
for a baby.
Instead of the tins or the jars,
Yeah,
look for
the pouches.
Look for pouches, and
Yeah.
that's a guide towards having less preservatives.
That's right. Yeah. 'Cause
Really, that's a good
it's
tip.
A great way for the companies to preserve the food. Yeah.
So, are there any other tips you might have that are easy for, say, someone who's in a hurry? Oh, I've got to get this, that, and the other.
I would say definitely go for plain over flavoured. So, for instance, if you needed to get some chips for a party, go for maybe just the lightly salted. If you really had to have these products, that's what I would say as a tip, is go for plain over the flavoured versions. Go for uncoloured over coloured. So, for instance, marshmallows, get your white rather than your pinks and bright colours.
And there will be less additives.
Yeah, and another great one is like meringues,
Yes, love meringues.
Yeah, so you can have, they're pretty good. They're still, got lots of sugar, but as an occasional treat in a lunchbox or at a birthday party.
Yes.
But don't get the coloured ones.
Just
get plain
white.
white.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, I would probably suggest that getting an app on your phone that's quick and easy. There's Additive Alert is the one that I use. You can quickly just dial in a number and it will come up and tell you about it, or you can start, if it's not a number and it's the actual word, you can start typing the word in and it will actually give you options as to what that chemical might be. So the things that I tend to do is, if it is highly marketed, if it's a product that has lots of advertising to it, avoid it. Because generally it's not manufactured in Australia, it's probably manufactured overseas with products, with ingredients that come from overseas that we have no control over. And just try to just avoid anything that comes in a packet in the first place.
Yes, whole foods.
Whole foods, yes.
Yes, that you can put in bags and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, well, look, the way you've set out the book, it's so user-friendly, and as we were saying before, it needs to be simple.
Yes.
Because you're busy, you have 4 children, and a lot of families out there, are just so busy.
Yes.
The recipes I found were just so simple, and it's really back to basics.
That's exactly it. Once you start sort of filling your pantry with your basic staples, which are generally very good for you, there's not a lot of problems with getting, flour and sugar and butter and milk and eggs and
baking powder.
Yeah, everybody has access to good quality of that here in Australia. We're very lucky. But basically with the recipes, I used to be the mum that would go and get the packet flavouring of something, chuck it in the casserole and just add my meat and vegetables and stuff. It's all those favourites that you like to buy at the supermarket, but teaching you how to make it yourself.
Yes.
And it's generally not that hard.
And not only is it cost effective, but you can make it even more cost effective with your make your own basic section.
Yeah, that's right. So a lot of the recipes emulate the sorts of things that you might normally buy in a jar or a packet, but you can buy the whole ingredients for the same price as that jar or that packet. But if you want to make it more budget friendly, and who doesn't, then in the section we've got, in the book we've got a section that's called Moo Recipes, which stands for Make Our Own. So rather than buying a store-bought mayonnaise, you can make your own mayonnaise, or your own tomato sauce, or your own pizza bases.
Or your own taco seasoning.
Your own taco
or cordial.
Seasoning. Yes, that's in there too.
There's nothing you can't make yourself.
That's right. And then behind that is also the full list of the supermarket brands that we think are okay for use.
And that list makes it so easy because it's so extensive and you don't have to go around reading all the labels.
That's right, you don't have to stand there like this
so
the whole time.
You've done the hard work.
Yep.
You've
or
done
if you
the
online shop.
Yeah.
Like I do.
Yeah, which is easier too. So you've done all the hard work.
That's right.
You've made it simple, you've made it so clear. You've even got the menu planner.
I've got a menu planner, and there's other resources that you can look online as well to find out more about it, because it's a whole movement out there of other mums and other families who are doing just this to make their lives much
And the
better.
more of us that do it, the prices on the really good organic or simply preservative-free and additive-free foods will come down.
That's
will
right.
be easier to find, and
yeah, we're sending a huge message to the market out there that these are the kinds of products that
we
want.
want. And these are the kind of products which make our children happier.
That's right.
Happier and healthier and better at school.
Yep. And
so
that makes the whole family happy.
And that makes the whole family happy and easier.
That's right.
So, I mean, you're doing a wonderful service for everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
I highly recommend the book. It's really been so interesting for me to look through it and learn. There's so much in it. So thank you so much, Bec Taylor.
That's my
and
pleasure.
thank you from all the families in Australia. It really is a wonderful process to learn about these things. So thank you, and good luck with the kids and the teaching. So that was Bec Taylor with her Cut the Chemicals cookbook, available from ASJ Publishing, and we'll see you next time.